Should you get and build Horn? Short answer, yes. Long answer, this entire video.
テンペスト特攻隊隊長ホルン、ビクトリアの軍人ならば自らの規律に誇りを持ちなさい。盾を構える。私の前に飛び出さないように。
Lieutenant Rita Scamandrous, codename Horn, is a 6-star fortress defender from Victoria, the daughter of the legendary White Wolf Count, who serves in the Victorian military. She is the leader of the 2nd Tempest Platoon and Bagpipe Superior. During the Hillock County incident, she lost most of her squad members and became Dublin's prisoner. After being rescued by elite operator Missouri's team, she is back on the front line and cooperated with Rhodes Island during the Londinium occupation. Horn is the second and currently the only 6-star of Fortress Defender. From the first Fortress Defender we know they're more of an attacker unit. So how about Horn? Will she become useful for your team? Let's find out. As a Fortress Defender, Horn has a unique range similar to Besieger Sniper and can do a ranged attack. If there's an enemy in those 5 tiles ahead, she will fire an AoE physical damage. And no, she can't hit an aerial enemy, even if her missile explosion is near. Her 2 tiles ahead are her blind spot, might be a problem in some cramped stages. But with this range, you can also create a creative way to deal with enemies. Like attacking an enemy that can't be reached by some operators, spawn kills. And this range also makes Horn can attack enemies from a safe distance. It's not like she is vulnerable. But Fortress Defender's main usage is to deal damage to the enemy from the backline position. You don't want to use them to block an enemy, because they won't deal AoE attacks when they're blocking, losing this defender AoE damage potential. As for Horn's general stats, Horn has the 2nd biggest attack stats among other defender, only slightly lower than Unect's. Her big AoE attack and skills will make up for her slow attack speed. And while she mostly won't block an enemy, she got a tough defensive stats, similar to a 6-star Guardian Defender. She also has a big SP cost, not as big as Duelist and Juggernaut Defender. But you normally won't be able to deploy Horn immediately. And then for her talents. For the first talent, when Horn is deployed she will increase all defenders' attack. A nice permanent buff especially for operators who benefited a lot from attack stat. Like Unex and Horn herself who focus more on the offensive. Or Guardian Defender whose heal are based on their attack. And compared to other similar talents, that give a certain attack boost to the operator's respective classes, Horn's attack boost is the biggest. As for her 2nd talent, for the first time Horn's HP reaches 0. She will recover all of her HP and change into this state, gaining defense and attack speed boosts, but her HP will be cut in half. And I don't know about you, but she looks angry. This talent effect is similar to the Dreadnought Guard Y module. But actually, you might prefer this state instead of Horn's normal state. Because Horn is better to deal damage from a safe distance. And with her slow attack, an extra attack speed is always welcomed. And when she indeed blocks an enemy, she still has pretty big defensive stats. As long as it's not arts or true damage. And this is the list of her potential. She got a useful buff from her potential, but overall she's fine without one. And currently, Fortress Defender doesn't have module. Then moving to her skills, her first skill. On her next attack, she will deal a critical damage. If the attack is a ranged attack, the attack splash area will be increased. Should be covering a 3x3 tile. And then illuminate the target area to reveal invisible enemies. This is a great skill for starters or for using Horn in early IS mode stages. With this skill low SP cost and can hold 2 charges. This skill will provide consistent DPS for your team. And thank God it's not an offensive recovery charge type. Horn should be attacking an enemy at least 1 time. And the next time she attacks it will be this skill. The ability to illuminate a certain tile is also nice, and it lasts for quite some time. Though I rarely find this ability to reveal invisible enemy effective. Especially since she cannot target an invisible enemy directly. But probably useful if the invisible enemy come together with the normal enemy like this. As for her second skill, Horns gain 10 ammunition and each ammo will deal critical damage. This skill also make her attack when blocking an enemy become an AoE attack. It's the only time where we can see her using her sword. Now this skill also has a new overdrive mechanic. Halfway through the skill duration, additional effects are activated. Overdrive will make the skill stronger. But usually, there's a negative consequence for the operator. In this case, once Horn fired her 5th ammunition, her remaining ammunition will deal additional arts damage. And if you ever deactivated this skill while her overdrive state is active, she will fire all of her remaining ammunition at the same time. But she will lose 60% of her HP. And yes, Horn can be killed by this. If you have Horn at E2 you might want to use this to activate her second talent. And if you don't want her to lose any HP, you can just keep her firing all of her ammo without manually deactivating her skills. Because if she runs out of ammunition, her HP won't be reduced. This skill 2 of hers is a strong skill with a massive burst potential to fight a very armored enemy, and it has a cheap SP cost. Last but not least, her third skill. Increase her attack and reduce her attack interval to around 1 attack per second. For the overdrive, her attack bonus will be doubled and gradually lose HP, capping at 12% max HP per second after 12 seconds. This is Horn's main skill to use, simple but effective, providing you with big burst DPS to take down thick and large groups of enemies. It even almost rival Moisture S3. The HP loss from her overdrive state should reduce her HP by around 75%. So the second activation of this skill will kill her and activate her second talent. Which is nice. This skill 3 will definitely make a good use of that extra attack speed. And the SP cost of this skill is also not high. For skill mastery priority, all of her skills are considered worth it to master, with each skills giving different valuable niches. And all of her skills have strong damage increases on mastery. First and priority, you must M3 her skill 3, most of the time you will use this. Her skill 2 provides your team with a powerful nuke skill. And when blocking, this is arguably the best skill to use, because she still retains her AoE attack. While for skill 1 you can just leave it at the mastery 1. Because at M1 it will reduce her SP cost to 5. But maybe you like its consistent damage and the ability to reveal invisible enemies. As for her base skills, when assigned to the workshop, making elite materials that cost 4 moral will have -1 moral consumed. And when making alloy type materials, increase the rate of byproduct by 100%. So, will Horn become a good operator for your team? Absolutely. Horn will provide your team with a big burst DPS and can hit enemies that probably cannot be reached by others. She is useful in general story stages. Useful E1 and E2 abilities to be used in IS mode. And in the upcoming CC9, she is one of the MVP units. And on top of that, her debut banner consists of very useful operators. You got Rockrock, a ranged unit who have a solid arts DPS. And Chestnut, who is a 4-star wandering medic. He's not really the best, but become an alternative for people who don't have mulberry or honeyberry. And a cheaper option in IS mode, in case you want to save your hope for other operator. The only thing that makes you don't want Horn is probably because you have enough damager unit. Or perhaps you want to save as many or undem as possible. For Golden Age limited banner. That should come after Horn's banner. And for consideration, during IS3 debut, there is a special banner similar like a joint operation banner, featuring Horn and 2 other useful 6 starter gacha. So maybe you want to get her from there or wait for her standard banner. Either way, Horn is a great unit to have. And her debut banner is the best place to get her. That should be all. Adios.